Okay, we're going to start with building our high street using basic objects. Before I start, what I like to do always is a bit of research. So I wanted to make a high street. So what I did, I'm using here Adobe Express. You can use Canva. Just create a mood board. So go and search high street. I was looking European, British high streets, basically. And I got some photos here that I put on a mood board. It's this is the kind of the building style that I want to do. And just have some references. Very important to work with references. And then the other thing I did was to do some research in terms of the style. And I'm using here, I use Pinterest. Okay, so I went in Pinterest and looking for isometric designs or isometric illustrations. Yeah, so I'm sure you've seen those isometric illustrations before. And that is the style you can see a lot of in 3D games as well. And this is what kind of style I'm looking for. And before we carry on, what is an isometric drawing? You know, what's isometric? Let's just put it that way. It's isometric is actually comes from a 2D. So it's a technique used to represent 3-dimensional objects into a 2-dimensional plane. Let's see if I got here this kind of drawings here. Normally used in engineering and technical drawing. Yeah. So in isometric drawings, all the 3 coordinates, appear equally scaled. So as you can see in this cube here, with the Y and the X-axis typically drawn at 30-degree angles from the horizontal line. This results in a 120-degree angle between each pair of the axes. So that gives an illusion of equal size and proportion across all dimensions. Right? So this is not like perspective drawing, which you can distort the size of the objects based on their distance from the viewer. Isometric drawing maintain consistent proportions, right? So why is this important? So this makes them ideal for game design as well, providing a clear top-down. Let's see if I can have here isometric game art. If you look at that, so you have the top-down view. So it's ideal for game design that provide a top-down view that helps players to navigate and interact with the game world without the complexities of perspective distortion. Yeah. They also, when you have sprites, the computer doesn't need to calculate and resize the sprites. Okay. So that's what we're going to start. We're not going to go into in depth too much about, the whole concept of isometric games. But it's just, this is what the style we're going for. And how does it, let me just show you the difference here with this. This is, so what you can see here now, this is my perspective view of my high street. And when I render isometric looking, that's how it looks. In fact, because we are in 3D environment already, we can never get 100% the isometric, but we get pretty close to the isometric look and feel. Okay, so you can see that from here and there. Anyway, that's not what the video is about. It's about building a high street. I just wanted to explain that, and later on, as we go along, I'll tell you how to set up the camera so it looks, we get this isometric projection. So I'm going to start with maybe that building here. And just kind of looking, probably going to be something like this first building here. So that's going to be my reference image that I'm going to base my building. So that one there. Okay. So I'm going to keep it here as a side, and I'm going to start a new file. I'm going to save. Okay. Okay, for the first thing, I want to have a general overview of what I need in the scene. So I need a ground, and I need 4 buildings. Right, so that's my idea that I'm going to work with. So I'm going to start with adding a plane, and this plane can add, like, say, let's put it about 5 meters. So everything is going to fit into that place. I'm just going to delete this cube, and let's see, now I'm going to create my building. So let's say about a meter. So then I should be able to have approximately a meter for each building, and have, let's just go here, press number 1, press G and move. So I have kind of 4 buildings. I like to block out exactly what I'm doing first. So Shift D and press Y. So I'll duplicate and press Y, Shift D, Y, and then you duplicate it, so I can have a general idea what kind of scene I'm going to go for. Shift D and then Y again. So they're going to be quite close together. This is a high street, they all connect to. And I also want to have some space for the pavement, and pavement on this other side. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to go for, about a meter by a meter for this building here in a 5 meter plane. Okay, so I'm just delete those others, and I'm going to press H to hide this one. Okay, so now that I know where I'm going to put stuff, I want to start modeling my first building. And I also like to start, anytime I'm modeling something, I like to start to model from the origin point. So I like to put, like, I'm going to use this cube as my starting point, and I want it to be at the center. My 3D cursor is already at the center, so it's easy now. So I'm just going to put Shift S, and then I select the cube, selection to cursor, and then it's now in the middle. Okay, so if I look at my reference image, I'll be looking at, I'll just make it bigger here. My first building is going to be based on this reference here. So I want the ground floor plus 2 floors up, so, and that kind of roof. And if I look at the previous one that I've already done here, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this building first. So, okay. So I know my measurement is going to be around a meter by a meter here, and then I'm going to make it taller. Okay. So let's have a look at what we're going to do. So that's my dimensions here, x1 by 1, and my y I'm probably going to put 2. Oh, sorry, not my y, z. 2. Okay. So that should be, or maybe, I don't know. Let's have a look. So if I press 1, now I'm going to put on the ground. 1 means you're in my front view. Okay, so if I take back, it's here. Okay, so I should be able to fit here 4 windows, right? And 2 more lateral windows here, as you can see in my reference here. Okay, I have my first building, and the next thing I want to do, those edges are quite hard edges. So let me just come here at the top here where my viewport shading is a little arrow. Click here and you go down and click on cavity. Cavity gives you a highlight around the edges here, so it's a better way of visualizing what you're doing. And I want to make those edges smoother because it gives me it's the style I'm looking for, and gives a better rendering as well. So There's something here called on this tabs here. This tool here called modifiers, and I'm going to add a modifier to this. And here I'm going to search. There's a search button, and you look for bevel. Okay. So when I do bevel, that he applies a bevel. So I can choose here how many segments I want. So let's say I'm going to put 2 segments, and I don't want this to be that round. Okay. I want a very small amount. So I'm going to go for maybe 0.02, 0.01. If you want to see it before, without it, you can turn off here so you can see difference. Okay. So I added a little bit of a bevel to smooth out. You can add more segments if you want, and it looks a lot more smoother. Okay. I'll leave it 3. Okay. So that's the beginning of my building. So I'm going to call this cube, I'm going to call building 1. So it's always good to keep organized. Okay, so building 1. And I'm going to create a collection to separate everything. So I'm going to create a collection for this building 1. So I'm going to create there, click this plus button here. Collection 2, I'm going to double click that and put building 1. And I can drag and drop here. Okay, so that's going to be my building 1. A mesh, another cube. Okay, so now it's created that. So you can see this, when you see all these artifacts, it's because they are overlapping and they are trying to share the same space. And so I'm just going to move forward a little bit, and I'm going to now resize. So here I want kind of 0.01 in X, kind of the thickness. I'm not creating holes for this exercise. I'm just putting on top to give the illusion of windows, right? So later on in other exercise, we can start cutting this off and making holes. But for now, for this exercise, we're creating a basic object. And so I'm going to use that as just create a different cube and put on top. So now I want to have an idea what kind of size it needs to be. So, and I'm going to go to my number 1, which is my front view, which in this case is my side. So I want 4. So I'm just going to have an idea what size. Okay, so that should be, I can always change it later. So that's going to be my window size. And I want to create the window frame. Okay. Okay, now this kind of approximate size, I can always resize later. So, but I wanted to have an approximate size of my window. So let's just do the window now, which will start editing this object a little bit. First of all, I would just save your work. Make sure you can save as, and you can put a name Isometric City. So you can save. And I'm going to hide this building for now because I want to focus on the window. So in order to hide this object, you can either come here and turn the eye off, or you can press the H. You click the object and press the letter H, and then it's hidden. I also now want to put this at the center of my window so I can start modeling from the center. So Shift S, cursor toward origin. Shift S, selection to cursor. Sorry. There you go. And I'm going to create a frame. There are many ways you can create the frame. We were trying to do everything by just duplicating objects, but I'm going to show you a better way of doing so. I'm going to duplicate this, Shift D to duplicate, and I want to put it back in the same place. I'm moving my mouse now. It's attached to my mouse. If I press escape, it goes back to the same place. So now remember, I have two different ones now in the same place. So I'm going to resize this. And I want to resize, in general, all the three axes. So I'm going to use the white line. So I'm going to the top of the white line and resize. How much? Don't know yet. So I need to be able to see. So I'm going to look at my X-ray. So if I come here at the top, I see my X-ray. So I can see now, if I press number 3, which is my side view, I can see how much that should do. Now, because I'm resizing and this is a rectangle, so now I can see here that is not proportional. So I'm going to bring this down. I'm just doing by eye at the moment, so it's fine. Something like this. Okay, so now I've got my window. Turn off the X-ray. And what I'm going to do, so this is my cube 1, which is my window frame. Window frame, call it window frame. And this is my window. I'm going to, again, let me just hide the frame for a second. I'm going to duplicate the window again. Shift D to duplicate. Go X to go back to the same place. And I'm just going to scale this in X. So I'm just going to make it quite big, like that thick, because I want to use this to cut. So I'm going to hide my original window and I'm going to bring back my frame. So now I have two things. I have my window frame and I'm going to use this to cut a hole in the middle. So how do I do this? I click my window frame and I come here to my modifier again and add a modifier, and then I'm going to use my Boolean. Just look for Boolean, search, and then I want the difference. So I want to get this space and this object, and it's the difference with the other object. Which one is it? Which is my window, that one, my cutter. It looks like nothing happened, but if I turn my copy of a window object off, I have a frame there. Okay. So what is the good thing about Boolean and using modifiers? The fact that you can actually move things around and see what exactly we want. So let's say, what I'm saying, if I move this way, as you can see, yeah, it's non-destructive until I apply. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to keep that in the middle. So I'm happy with that. So I can apply this Boolean. Okay, so I'm going to just come here to my window frame, and here on this thing here, on this arrow, I click here and I say apply. So now that one, this object I don't need anymore, I can just delete my cutter. So I have here a window frame, and I'll bring my window back, and I have here. I want my window frame to be slightly thicker, so I'm going to scale in X. And that's one way of doing things, but I wanted, according to my reference, I wanted to have a frame there in the middle. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to add two more cubes to do this area here, the middle frames here. I could use the same method by creating 4 different cubes and cutting them and having this that way, or we could just add another cube. So if I just come in here and say cube, it's quite massive now. I just size it down and I do this. Okay. And then turn around. I actually don't need to worry about the back, so I can just put it at the front and move. Just want to move in X. Maybe it's a bit too thick, so I'm going to scale a little bit in Z. And now the same one, I'm just going to duplicate, Shift D, escape, and then rotate. R for rotation, and I'm going to rotate in X 90 degrees. So I can put it here. I want to be precise at this one. I go down here in this little window and I put 90. Okay, so then I'll move it down and scale in Z. Bring it down, scale in Z. There you go. Just gonna look at my front view here. Okay, so I have that. So now what's going on here? So here's creating the artifact because it's overlapping and those two faces are sharing the exact same place. And that's what you're going to have rendering problems here. You don't want that. So you just bring it a little bit forward. Off. Okay. Okay, so now it's not overlapping, it's not in the same place. They are still on the top of each other, but this one is at the front. So I have my window frame. Now I have all different objects at the moment. So the first thing I'm going to do, I have this and I can copy. So before I do anything, I just want to apply different objects, different materials. So it's easier for me then to create new materials and apply them later on if I want to make modifications with my materials. So I'm going to click this window one, which is going to be the glass, and I'm going to call it window. So I double click here. Window one glass. I call it window one because I'm going to have different types of windows. So it's a window from building one. And now for this guys here, I'm going to select this, the frame, and this, and the other two, shift select them. So if I shift select them, I have all of them selected. I'm going to create a new, and I'm going to call it window one frame. Yeah, you can put a different color or anything. We can't see the color yet because we're not in the other viewport shading. Okay, so now that I have my frame, and I have my window glass, and I have 3 pieces of frame, so I'm just going to select and shift select, select the frame, shift select the other 2 bits of frame. See, I've got there, and I'm going to, with the right mouse button, join them. So, and I call it window frame. Okay, so I have a window glass and window frame. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to make the glass a triad of the frame. So when I move the frame, the glass will move with it. Okay, so I'm going to select the frame, the parent, no, select the child first, which is the glass, select the frame, and then Control P for parenting, parents to object. So that means that now my frame is the parent of my glass, the window glass. Okay, so as you can see here, now it's inside. Okay, so that means if when I move the glass, so the frame, the glass moves with it. So now in order to bring back my building, I can click here or can press Alt H, and we'll unhide anything that's hiding. It's actually unhiding the ground as well, the plane. So I'm just going to hide this, and I have my building here, and my frame is over there. So let's bring it here and bring it up, and just press 1, and I'm just going to put it there, touch it there. Okay. So now I think the size is about right. I want 4 windows. Yeah, so that's my reference. I want 4 windows. In order to do those windows, I'm going to use another modifier called an array. So I'm going to use an array. Array create instances, so they are copies of this window. So anything I'll do with this window will do with the others. So let's just add a new modifier called array. And then I need to see what axis do you want. So I want in my y-axis, which is the green one. So here instead of fact, this is x, y, and z. So 0 in my x, and I put 1. Okay. So in this case, it's going to be -1, but I can move this here. So I want there. So I can decide what distance I want, and then how many. Fixed count, I want 4. So I can then, if I move this original one, it's too close to the edge here, so I want to decrease this distance here. Maybe -1.1 for me. Here you go. Something like this. Okay. And that's my array. I actually want to make the windows a bit taller. So I can come here and scale in Z only. Yeah, see? And the others will change accordingly. So I still have my array there. I'm not going to apply the array yet, just in case I want to move things. Okay. Just move up a little bit. There. Now I want another set of windows here at the top. So I'm going to create a new array. So I'm going to add another modifier, another array, and I want 2 now. And I don't want in X, put 0, and I want in Z, so I put 1 here. Okay, and then I can click and hold, and you can control the distance here. Here. So I have now my building with windows. Okay, so now that I'm looking at it, I can see here something is not quite right. Okay, so that's my original window, which is a parent of my window glass. What happened here, when I put the array, you can't put hierarchy objects as a parent and children. So if I come here to my color, for example, you can see that it copied all the window frames, but not the window glass. So what I'm going to do, now I can make modifications. So I'm actually going to join those 2 objects together. So if I I'm going to join and make a one object. So I select my frame, select my glass, and I then join. They all disappear. So Control Z, I don't want that. So I'll do the opposite. I'm going to select my glass, select the frame, and then I join. So now it made the modification to the other ones because my modifiers will apply to the frame and not to the window. And when I join, I want to join the right order. So now I have all my windows with glass. Yeah, and it's one object. There's no parenting anymore. They're just one object. Okay. So yeah, that is done. And then now let's do the door and the window at the bottom. So now I'm going to create the ground floor window and door using the same method. So I'm going to do the window again, using the same process. And then you can do the door and the side windows. So let's just do that again and see. Going to create a cube, resize the cube. I could actually duplicate the previous one I had, but I've already joined them together and I would need to edit. So as we are using, we're not there yet in this lesson. We're just using objects. We're not editing just yet. So I'm just going to redo it. So it's good for you to practice as well. one thing I want to see is like, what is the thickness that I put that frame? 0.0153. So I'm going to do the same for this one in X, 0.0153. Okay, so we have the same thickness of the frame. Put it at the front here. Kind of calculate a little bit more what size you want. So in this case, I don't want to scale in X because I've already got the right thickness for the X-axis. So I'm just going to click in the red now. When I scale, click the red square. That means I'm going to scale in X and Y. In Y and Z and not in X. So it's still maintaining my 0.0153 thickness. I think I want to add. Oops. Okay, I think that's about right for my window. Okay. Now I'm going to duplicate, escape, scale down, and then I'm going to scale next to create the cutter. Okay. So now you can decide which thickness. It can be, because this is the ground floor window, you can decide, you can make it different from the top windows. So now select that one that is going to be the frame, select the cutter, just come to the frame, add a modifier and add a boolean. So which one you want to cut with the cutter is this one, which in my case is called cube 1. And now if you turn off the cube 1, you can see we have a frame there. But before we apply, I want to also duplicate that again to be my window glass. So duplicate, escape to be in the same place, and just scale down a little bit. Okay, now this one is ground floor window frame. Okay. Ground floor, it's good to name window glass. So instead of ground floor, I just put GF. So window glass. Okay. And this one the same thing. GF window frame. So window frame, I'm happy, so I can apply that boolean, and now I don't need this cube anymore. I can delete. Oh, I actually renamed the wrong one. So this one is my ground floor window glass. There you go. So everything tidy. And this one here, the top, I am just going to put my top windows. Okay. For this window, I need a frame in the middle there, a little part in the middle. So I'm just going to add another cube and resize. Bring it to the front. So instead of doing this, it's very annoying, it's very difficult. So how do you know where the middle is and so on? So I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to select this frame and I'm going to shift S and the cursor to select it. So I'm going to bring my 3D cursor there to this place. Now, when I create a new object, the cube is going to be created there. Okay, so I can resize now, and I know it's right in the middle. Yeah, so I can do this and resize and thickness. It's a bit too thick now. Here you go. Okay, so I have a window, the bottom window. And again, I want to select the frame and the middle part, and with the right mouse button, join. So I want to select the other way around. Select the cube, and then select the frame, and then join. Okay, because now I kept the same name there, so I don't need to rename again. Bring back my window glass. So my window glass now is at the front, so I'm just going to scale more in X and potentially just G and move it back a little bit. Okay, that's fine. And this window at the top, I also have a bevel. So I'm going to get to my frame here and I add a bevel. And 0.01 should be enough. What do I have here? I have 3 and 0.01, so I'll do the same for this one. So keep consistent. Okay. Okay, again, I want to go to my material and I'm going to add the window frame material. Because I'm going to be adding, according to my reference, it's going to be the same material as the top windows, so I'll just add that one. I don't need to create new materials for that. And I'm going to select the window glass and window glass. So if we go here, you can see. If you go to your viewport shading, you can see the colors. That's what we have. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the window glass that I have here because it's already kind of the right size. And I just duplicate that and press Y to bring it here. And now I can resize this the way I want because it's just a cube. I want, maybe I put this window slightly higher. Make sure you select both, G. Okay. And I bring this door down. And I'm going to create a little frame around it. So kind of that is the door, but what's going to be the door? So let's duplicate this and press escape to be in the same place and then scale. Now I need to turn on the X-ray so I know what I'm doing, or maybe even the wireframe. I think the wireframe is better. So if you press 3 for your front view or 1 for your front view, depending which axis you are, I think I want to be quite thicker for the door, a little thicker frame. It's going to be slightly different from my reference here, but it's fine. I just want to see, go with the flow here. Okay, so that's going to be my frame. Remember, I want to put the frame in the same thickness, so which was 0.0153. So I'll click my frame here, 0.053, 153. Okay, now I'm going to select the window glass one. So now this is going to be the door glass. The door glass. Okay. And I'm going to duplicate that, but to create the cutter, duplicate, Shift D, sorry, escape, and then scale in X, and do the same thing that you did for the window. Add a boolean, select that, add a boolean. Oh, it has a boolean added to it because it's added, I duplicate it. So window, yeah, so let me just remove that because when I duplicate that, it had a boolean in it, but now there is no cutter. So this boolean here, I don't need it. So I'm just cut off, create a new one, add a modifier. I could use the same one and just change the object that's cutting, but you know. Okay. And that one is the Douglas one. Okay, so I can apply this boolean here. Oh, apply, and then cut, delete this one. Don't need any more. And then we have, so this is going to be the door frame. The inside one was the door glass. Okay, so door frame, door glass. And now I'm going to put my cursor in the middle again. Shift S, cursor to select, and then it creates in the middle there. And again, I'm going to add a cube. I mean, I can make it here smaller. And then move a little bit forward. I think I want to be thinner here. Okay, so now I'm going to go into my material and add here, not the window glass, I want the windows frame. Let's have a look. Okay, I need to join the other one. So click this one, which is the new cube. With that, right mouse button, join. Okay, so yes, all done now. So now I have the window, the door, and the window. So I'm just going to bring it down a little bit. Press 1 here to see, and G, bring it down. So this is kind of a door. I want it to be quite at the bottom. And the other thing I want to do is just add this edge here. Yeah, and then a separation there. It might be looking slightly different from my reference, but that's fine. Okay. So I've done the small window now. I've also added a frame here, and I applied the material for the frame and glass. And now I want to show you one thing now, because I want to do an array, and you probably have show you this. This is my x-axis, right? Because I rotated my window 90 degrees. So now I'm going to do an array, and I show you. So fixed count, I say 2, and factor in. So you want to move in x-axis, but look what happened, right? It's coming on this axis, on the y-axis. But why is that? This is my x-axis. Because I need to apply the rotations, right? So let me just delete this. Once I rotate, I need to apply this object. So it will reset the axis. Object, set, here, apply, rotation. So now the rotations were applied. If I go back to my array now, and then it's showing in X now. So it's correct in X. So I'll put it down here because I think I want to, according to my reference, I have 3 floors of window. Okay, so I'll just bring it down a little bit like this. Maybe put it there. So that's my first array, and then another array. Same way you did the others, but this time now I want it in Z and not in X. So let me just get the distance right. Somewhere here. Yeah, that should do. And then 3. There's a little bit of discrepancy with the distance here. It's not really following the same. Because here at the bottom I have a little bit of difference in this, not the same distance at the top ones. So, but it's okay. Now it looks good. Fine. Okay, now for the roof, we're going to start editing objects. That was going to be the easiest thing. You could do the roof by using booleans and rotating objects, but I think it's time we start editing objects. So I'm going to create a cube again. Add cube. So let's just put meter. Okay. In fact, let me just delete this. I'm just going to put this in the center. So Shift S, cursor to selected, and then now I'm going to add the cube. At least I know it's going to be in the middle. And it's a meter. So, okay. Just put it there and scale down a little bit. So, as you can see here, it's a kind of triangular shape. My reference. So now I don't have a triangle object, but I can do with the cube. So I want to use this cube, and I'm going to change to make it like have that kind of roof shape. For that, I'm going to go to my edit mode. Right here, you have the object mode. This is your object. Yeah, and then you want to make modifications to this object. So you go to the edit mode, as you can see. So now I can select different faces from this cube. Here at the top, you have your vertices, you have your edges. So what are vertices? Vertices are those little dots that share edges, 3 edges. Yeah, so an edge that's there. So if I want to select vertices, yeah, so here at the top I have 4 vertices, and I could individually move them and start modifying my object, my mesh. Or the same thing with the edges. So this one is called edges. So I could do this, right? And then here I have faces. So the cube's got different faces there. I'm going to select the top face here now, and I'm going to use exactly what was used before, the scale tool, and bring it down like this. I don't want to go all the way because I don't want to overlap. Look, here I'm overlapping, so I'm just going to go. Just keep an eye to see if you don't overlap. If you overlap, you see, that's what happens. Okay. I'm going to leave a little bit like that. So that's it. Once I'm happy with my roof, I can just go back to object mode or press the tab key. So the tab key is it's a shortcut for you from going from edit mode to object mode. So now this is my roof, and I want to add a bevel the same way I add this bevel of my building. So it's 0.01 and 3 segments. So I'm just going to add a bevel here as well, and 3. Okay, so now it's consistent with my building, right? So there you go. We have a roof. So I'm going to call this roof. So just now take the time to check those things. So this is called board 1. I'm calling them boards. Board 2. For the awning down here, it's a similar idea. So we just get this done now. And then we add the chimney. Again, I'm going to go here and Shift S, cursor to selected is already there. Add a cube. I'm going to resize my cube. Just go here, number 3, and make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to put it there. Scale next. Now, maybe scale a little bit more in Z. So this is going to be the awning at the top of the door. And the same way I did the roof, I'm going to press Tab key or go to my edit mode. And here I want to select my face, so it's already there. So you go and select the face, it goes yellow. Select the face you want to move, and then you scale down. Make sure you don't overlap. And then actually I'm going to move down because I wanted to face the water to be able to go down. Okay, if it's rainy. Okay, something like this will do. You can bring it up. You can make as long as you want. Okay. That is done. Tab key to go back to object mode. Right, okay, so I think now we only need the chimneys. So we have 2 chimneys there, so we just make one and then copy. These are just going to be 2 cubes and with the bevel applied to it. So I'm going to accelerate the video now. Okay, so for the other buildings now, everything is nicely done. for your building one, you're going to hide that. Oops. I'll give you a challenge to do the other two buildings. Very similar. I mean, the windows here are similar to the side windows. The only different thing here is going to be the door. This door here, you just bring the cutter cutting across the bottom frame here, and we'll have that door frame there. Just bring it in. See, so you just make a bigger cube here and cut across this bit. I will accelerate the video I'll be doing, but you do yourself and have a go. And also the third building. And then I see you again when I do this blue building here, and I show you how to make the round windows.